I'm Chris Wolby, the wrestling vlogger who always tells it like it is. Is it me, or has it been a long lead up to Money in the Bank? Backlash was at the start of May, and Money in the Bank isn't until next week. That's 6 weeks between pay-per-views. We don't normally see that big a gap until before what I call a major pay-per-view, those being WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and Royal Rumble. Before the latest brand split, I'd gotten used to pay-per-views being 3 or 4 weeks apart, and then a wider gap before a major. Of course, when they tried a pay-per-view per brand each month, it got chopped to 2 sometimes. Since that didn't work and they went back to 12 dual-branded ones each year, I expected the schedule to go back to normal. Greatest Royal Rumble being a hiccup in the calendar. Now, this has me thinking that WWE is trying to push Money in the Bank as a major pay-per-view, and truth be told, I guess I can see why. After all, it's the only pay-per-view outside of Royal Rumble where a guaranteed shot at a world title is at stake. While I said that the ladder match belongs at WrestleMania where it started, and I still believe that, I can understand wanting to make the pay-per-view major worthy. Those 8 men and women have the opportunity of a lifetime, and one of the most grueling matches to overcome to get it. If they do it right, the matches will definitely push the pay-per-view into major territory. You want more proof that they want to call this a major pay-per-view? There's an NXT TakeOver event happening that same weekend in Chicago. Now, I don't watch NXT despite all signs pointing to it being better than Raw or SmackDown lately, but even I know that takeovers only ever happen before major WWE pay-per-views. And though the match between Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano and the tag team title match between the Undisputed Era and Lorcan and Birch promised to be awesome, this wouldn't even be happening if the WWE didn't want us to treat Money in the Bank like it was a big deal. But I'm not sure if you noticed, but the lead up to this pay-per-view has been, well, underwhelming, to say it nicely. The eps of Raw and SmackDown have not been up to standards lately. Now, some may contribute this to a brutal international schedule the superstars have had this year, but I don't buy that. Many of these guys have done overseas trips before and still made good matches on TV. I don't know about the writers, but, well, if it's anyone's fault, it's theirs. But at the same time, though, maybe the long lead-up is a blessing for the writers and everyone else. Long before In Your House gave us monthly pay-per-views, we had long run-ups to the majors. Hell, there was a time where every participant in a Royal Rumble match was actually announced beforehand. And I'll admit that the long stretch to find out just who would make the Money in the Bank ladder matches was interesting. You know, maybe they could have drawn the matches out a little longer to fill the time, but whatever. At least those behind the scenes are given the time to figure out storylines for the pay-per-view and beyond. So, I think it's both a blessing and a curse that there are 6 weeks between Backlash and Money in the Bank, but the ultimate yardstick for whether it was worth it or not will come next week when the pay-per-view drops. If the first one of the all 4-hour era works out, then maybe next year's will likely have another long lead-up. If not, well then maybe it's best they just announce the participants and have the rivalries flare up during the 3 or 4 weeks leading up to the match. I guess we'll see. I'm Chris Wolby, the wrestling vlogger who always tells it like it is. See ya!